You know, when you see those huge North Korean military parades, all thunder and marching, you might just spot a woman in the background. She's got this faint, almost calm smile on her face. Now, she's not just some random official. That's Kim Yo-jong, the sister of the supreme leader, Kim Jong-un. And here's the thing. Behind that quiet smile, she has a reputation so intense that some people are calling her the world's most dangerous woman.
And really, that's the whole puzzle, isn't it? On the one hand, you have this image of a smiling diplomat, this soft power emissary. But then on the other hand, you hear whispers, no, you hear shouts that she's the iron fist of Pyongyang. So what's the real story? Is she one or the other, or, and this is the scary part, are they both just two sides of the same terrifyingly effective coin?
Okay, to really get a handle on this, we need to rewind. Let's go back to 2018, because that's when she first properly stepped onto the world stage and completely charmed everyone with that smile. I mean, you can't overstate this. This was a huge moment. It was the first time a member of the Kim dynasty had ever set foot in South Korea since the Korean War. Just think about that. She shows up at the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, and her whole vibe, calm, smiling, the media just ate it up. She was this symbol of soft power, which was just a world away from the nuclear missile tests her brother was known for.
But, you know, it didn't take long for the experts to start sounding the alarm. They were basically saying, hold on a second, don't fall for this. They argued this wasn't some genuine change of heart. No, this was a performance, a masterful piece of propaganda. The whole charm offensive, they said, was designed to do one thing, make the world relax and look away, while the regime was doing its same old brutal business behind the scenes.
So the big question is, where did this master strategist even come from? Well, to figure that out, you have to dig into her past, a past that was spent almost completely hidden away, in the shadows, where she was basically being groomed for power right from the start.
So she was born the youngest kid of the dictator Kim Jong-il, and right away she was kept completely out of the public eye. Get this, in 1996, they sent her off to school in Switzerland. She lived in a pretty normal apartment, but under a fake name, Pak Mi-hyung. She was there with her brother, the future leader, and they were totally isolated, but always being watched. We literally didn't see her in public until 2011 at her father's funeral. To the rest of us, it was like she just materialized out of thin air.
But once she was on the scene, her rise to power was, well, it was incredibly methodical, but also lightning fast. And let's be clear, she wasn't just some assistant. No, she was the architect, the one building her brother's image, his entire power base.
I mean, just look at how she climbed the ladder. It's so strategic. Step 1, 2012. She gets the title Tour Manager. Sounds kind of minor, right? Wrong. It meant she controlled everything about Kim Jong-un's public life, his travel, his security, what he saw, who he met. Then by 2014, she's moved up to vice director of the propaganda department. And by 2015, she's basically the chief, carefully shaping her brother's public image to be a mirror of their grandfather, the founder of the nation, Kim Il-sung.
So, you know, the world would see these pictures of her quietly holding an ashtray for her brother, looking like a dutiful assistant. But the reality? Oh, it was so much more chilling. She wasn't just helping him. She was a co-architect of his entire cult of personality. And that means she was a co-architect of the whole regime and just as responsible for all of its brutality.
So for years, she was this power player, but always in the background, always in the shadows. And then 2020 rolls around, and suddenly the mask doesn't just slip, it comes off completely. And the world finally got to hear the real voice of the Iron Lady. It all kicked off in April of 2020, when Kim Jong-un just vanished. He was gone from public view. And the rumors just went wild. Was he sick? Was he dead? It felt like a massive power vacuum was about to open up in a country with nuclear weapons. And right in the middle of that crazy silence, this new, ferocious voice just explodes onto the scene. And her first official statement, the first one ever in her own name, it was pure venom. She didn't just, issue some political critique of South Korea. No, she called them a frightened dog barking. I mean, that charming diplomat from the Olympics, completely gone, replaced by this raw, unfiltered aggression we expect from the regime. And that single moment just perfectly illustrates her real power. The message was crystal clear, not just to the world, but to everyone inside North Korea's elite. Don't even think about it. If the brother's not here, the sister is running the show, and you do not mess with her.
And make no mistake, this ruthlessness wasn't new. It just finally went public. Intelligence sources think she was the one who masterminded the execution of her own uncle back in 2013, reportedly for not clapping hard enough.
She's believed to be the one behind the assassination of her half-brother, Kim Jong-nam. She's the one who ordered the complete destruction of the North-South Liaison Office, a building that was supposed to be a symbol of peace. And on top of all that, you hear these reports about high-ranking officials being executed just for showing her disrespect.
And it's not just her alleged actions. Her words are just as brutal. Honestly, you could argue she's even more aggressive in her public statements than her brother is. She's called the president of South Korea America's hungry dog. She dismissed U.S. President Joe Biden as an old man with no future. And North Korean defectors, people who fled her regime, she calls them scum and filthy insects. So all of this, it all leads us to the single most important question right now. Is she actually being set up to be North Korea's next supreme leader?
Well, let's just look at the evidence, shall we? She has personally issued more than 40 official state declarations. Now, you have to understand, that used to be a job only for the supreme leader himself. That's it. So today, for all practical purposes, she is the official mouthpiece of the entire North Korean state.
In fact, it's gotten to the point where some experts have started throwing around a new term to describe her role: co-dictator. The idea is that she's not just the number two anymore. They think she shares almost equal authority with her brother in actually running the country, day in and day out.
Okay, so what happens if Kim Jong-un suddenly dies? Well, according to a former high-ranking North Korean diplomat who actually defected, there's zero question about it. She is absolutely next in line. See, Kim Jong-un's own kids are way too young to take over. That makes his sister the only real choice from the so-called Pak-2 bloodline, that sacred royal family that's ruled North Korea from the very beginning.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty chilling thought. The world used to see her as just a silent figure in the background, you know? That smiling face. But now we see a potential ruler who might be even more ruthless than her brother. So the real question isn't just if she'll take power, it's what happens when she does. Is the world really ready for its first female, nuclear-armed dictator?